So welcome back to the channel. We did part one on how to do a lawnmower service. So I thought today we'd finish that up with part two. All right, so what did we do in part one? Part one, mainly the engine. We want to make sure we got new oil filter, fuel filter, spark plugs. You should do it on all, and then check your air filter whether it needs to be blown out or not. So now let's go to part two. Part two is the deck. So what are we really looking at when the deck and chassis as far as that's concerned? All right, so I'll just kind of step through it one by one by one. All right, so one of the things that we always do is, I don't know if you can see it, but there's grease fittings. Make sure you grease up them really good so that they come out, because you want the steering just nice as can be. You want to check for anything out of alignment. Right now we've got this pulley is not in it because we had to order it for the person because they broke it. But you want to check the condition of the belts. You want to check the condition of the pulleys. You want to make sure that when you shut the deck off that the brakes work on it. There's the manual style and then the PTO driven that you have a pull button on. So we want to go through that, and then we want to go underneath and check the condition of the overall deck, and then clean up all that old dead grass that's just molded right through it. There's still more cleaning to do on this one. So while you're there, you're going to check blades. What kind of condition are the blades in? Now these here, you can see some rough spots where they've hit rocks. That can be sharpened. Here's the pulley that came out of it. So with that, on most of the decks, they're greasable spindles. Looking on this one, this is a non-greasable, so that means it is what it is. You know, it's the homeowner version, only supposed to be used so many hours. If it's a hydrostatic transmission, you're going to want to make sure that the levels are up on the rear end. And if you hear any whining, high-pitched whining or not, if you do hear it, and she kind of jerks a little bit, that means she's low on fluid. Some of them you can't, they're made so you can't do it. That's why they want a dealer doing it, so they can, when you pop the plug in the top to top it off, you've ruined the plug, so you have to have a new plug. So if yours is whining and stuff, you might want to take it to a dealer. Or if you're the dealer, make sure you get some of those plugs. You want to make sure that everything works. See, this is hand PTO is what I'm talking about. You push it in and out. Whereas the other ones will either be here on the dash with the pull button, or they'll be here on the side with the pull button. You want to check, make sure that everything is working good for the height. You want to check the overall condition of the tires. Are they weather checked? Are they holding air? Are they going to give the customer any problems all summer long? And then, what kind of condition is this chute in? Because this is a big safety concern. I've seen people run no chute with their foot. If you can slip right off, you can step right into it. So if you get a customer that brings one in with no chute on it, I would suggest to them that they get a new chute. Even if they're flipping it up, you know, with a bungee cord, it's not safe with no chute. With the chute here, with it up on the bungee, that's something different, because you can put it back down. But remember, if you're a dealer, you do not have the right to bypass any of the safety switch on the equipment on that machine. If you do, you can be held liable for it. Customer can do it, but not you. So make sure that you don't. The customer says, well, I get tired of the seat switch and this and that. Just shrug and say, I'm sorry, I can't help you. But if they decide to do it, that's on them. So that's pretty much part 2. You know, you just want to give a kind of general condition of it. Are the headlights still working good? How's the fuel tank look? This one here is pretty dirty. You want to make sure that she's not leaking around the overhead valve. Like I say, just do it once over. You'll get used to it. The more often that you do it, the more you're just going to do it without even thinking about it. So I hope that's helped some of you on what we do for part 2. As you can see, we've got this one on the lift. This is what I told you guys, between a want and a need. This is a want. I tell you, it saves a lot of time because you can lift it right up and have full access to what's underneath. Get her cleaned up, sharpen the blades, get the blades off, sharpen, put them back on. And that's about it. You know, when it comes to, you know, your customer, they want it as quick as possible. Like I told you, as far as inventory and stocking, you're not going to be able to do it. You know, these big guys, that's fine. But for you that are just doing their own, you know, small engine business and stuff, you can get it usually within a couple days. Even if you order on eBay, usually a week at the most. Always be honest with your customer. If it's going to be longer than a week, let them know. And if you have any major repairs that you're looking at having to do, call your customer first before you go ahead with that project. Even if it needs it, they may say, you know what, it's not worth it to me, keep the machine, and I'm going to go buy a new one. That's how some people are. Alright, so I'll catch you on the next video. Thanks so much for watching.